I'm on Fire Island with my New York queer fam, and this place is holy. If you don't know, Fire Island has been a queer haven for decades, a place for LGBTQ folks of all genders to come, to be their true selves, to find each other, to find community, to get away from a world that doesn't understand us, that marginalizes us, and to be in a place where queerness is the norm. And as I spend time here walking around the boardwalks and to the beach and to the bars, I can't help but notice how this place is a sacred site. Sometimes we think about sacred sites and sacred rituals as being completely separate from our various identities, but I think it's really important that we notice and name and claim and celebrate queer sacred sites and queer sacred rituals as well. I was going for a run the other day and I was jogging along the boardwalks, and it got me thinking about how many queer people over the decades have walked along these same boardwalks. There's this thing that happens every evening called tea, and everyone on the island converges at the same bar, the Blue Whale, right in the harbor at the Fire Island Pines, for drinking and music and socializing. And this walking up and down the boardwalk day in and day out reminds me of walking meditations, of rituals like walking the Camino de Santiago, that, we all stop what we're doing. We, throughout the day, might be at the beach or by a pool, at a house party, relaxing, reading, inside, outside. Folks might be single or in a relationship, might be abstinent, might be cruising, might be men or women, might be sober or drinkers, and we all emerge from our houses and walk down the various boardwalks that lead to this main boardwalk, Fire Island Boulevard, and make the walk to tea. And that is a sacred act. At tea we come together and there's music and there's drink, there's community. It's much like a mass and a communion and a worship. You'll see folks as you look out into the sea raising their hands to the beat of Donna Summer's, and it's much the same way that Christian folks have raised their hands in praise of God throughout the ages. And that's not to say that LGBT folks here are substituting our queerness for God, but rather that the divine lives in our queerness, and that the divine is uniquely present here in this place at this time. And I can't help but think about how the meaning and the significance of this place has changed for LGBTQ folks over the years. How in the 50s and the 60s it was a place to come and escape the closet, to find yourself and to find others like you, possibly for the first time. How in the 70s and the 80s it was a place to come and explore the beginnings of freedoms that LGBTQ folks were beginning to experience. How in the 80s and the 90s it was a place to come and rest and grieve and die and heal. How in the 90s and the 2000s and into today it's become more and more of a place of pride and celebration, of joy and of queer resistance. And I think about all the queer folks who have walked up and down the boardwalk, some of whom have lived great, successful, extraordinary lives, and some who have been extraordinary just in the ordinariness of their existence, of their survival, and of their personal thriving. I think with the joy, the pride, the celebration, the sorrow, the pain, the death, and the destruction, all of which this place, these houses, these trees, these boardwalks have seen. And I think too about the meat rack, this woods in between the Pines neighborhood and the Cherry Grove neighborhood of Fire Island, where gay men for decades have gone to meet and to have sex outside, where sometimes folks come with partners that they've brought from home, and sometimes you're meeting and cruising folks for the very first time right there. And I think in that too, there's something holy, in finding each other, in finding connection, in taking care of each other's needs, in each other's spirits, in experiencing the transcendence that comes from consensual sexual activity. I think that so often queer folks are taught that we have to separate our sexuality from our spirituality, or that we have to box it up, that we can be spiritual people just as long as we keep our sexuality in check. And I want to remember that the queer embrace of sex is a blessing to ourselves, and it's a blessing to the world, to straight and cisgender people alike. And in this ritual of coming together, of finding each other, of greeting the stranger, of communing with each other and with the divine, in the meat rack, in the sex, in the darkness, in the daylight, God is there too. And so as the sun sets here on my final day on Fire Island, I want to invite you to take a moment to notice the people, the places, the experiences, and the rituals where the divine is already present in your life. I think that whether you're LGBTQ or not, that queerness can help you unlock a deeper understanding of God that will enrich your faith. Queerness is a blessing to yourself, to your community, to the church, and to the whole world. So notice those places, name them, claim them, and celebrate them, because you have the divine inside of you. If you're interested in diving deeper into how queerness can help unlock the divine and enrich your Christian faith, we put together a weekly email series that explores just that. Head on over to queertheology.com/deeper to sign up for free. That's all for now, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.